Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. I would really appreciate it if you guys could press the like button and subscribe to show your support for the channel. And also, comment down below what coins you'd like to talk about next, and of course, some feedback on this video. So today, we're gonna be tackling how many coins you should be holding, or actually, how many coins you should have. And please take in mind that this is a completely subjective and situational thing. Everybody's exact amount will be different depending on situation, circumstances, whatnot, but I will give you guys a guideline and some ideas. I've told you guys before that I think talking about a definite plan for your holdings is one of the most important things we should all be doing within this community. If you don't have a definite plan, the chances are very high you're either going to lose money in the end or not really make use of all the money that you gathered from holding or trading. And again, that's why I think these videos are so important and why I might do more of them, just to make sure you guys all have your own ideas about how much you should hold, how much it's going to be worth, what your plans are, and exactly what you can do. So for all of this, I made a little bit of a plan, and I want to do two things with this, right? I have shown you guys this, at least parts of this retirement plan before, but I want to do two things. First of all, I want to put this document in the Discord so that you guys can all download it for yourself and actually make sure you can just check it out whenever you want to. Second of all, I want to actually try something which I think it might not work too well, but we'll see. I want to try and make one other Google Docs, an open Google document, and just have everybody write in there. Just have everybody write their own pieces, either their own experience or their own pieces to the plan, and just add it all with each other. You can always see which people are toxic and just delete them afterwards. I think there's going to be some advertisements, but maybe, if I just moderate it right, we can still get a very good plan going on with different opinions from different people, because as I've said before, it's all on user feedback here. Again, that's just, I think, where the plan can do best if we just all mastermind and get a definite plan going. But to give you guys a little idea of what the retirement plan is about, before we get into some heavier stuff here, it all depends on what your current situation is and what your goals are. First of all, we must talk about the XRP supply, of course, yada, yada, yada. That was more so about how unique you are. And another video like that is going to be coming out later today or tomorrow or so, because I also want to address to everybody how unique our opportunity here is. And really, some cool things are coming up, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. But here, for the retirement plan and how much XRP you should have to be able to retire happily, comes from 4 points. And that is your retirement goals, XRP price prediction, your amount of XRP. 3 things, and then match them up. And I actually made another really simple document here, or a sheet, in which you can just calculate anything you would ever want to do. So for example, if you put in the amount of XRP you have, for example, you put in 1,000 XRP, which is not that crazy of a number, you think it's going to go to about let's do $33 a coin, then boom, you're going to be left with $33,000. We're going to be needing that later. Same goes for if you want to put in, again, how much retirement money you want. You want to get $1 million, which is what I put in right there. Then, of course, you want to put some price, which you expect. You expect it's going to go to, again, $33, which means you got to have yourself 30,303 XRP to get yourself to $1 million. I think this is the simplest cheat I could have ever made. Really easy, really nice. And here are some random calculations which we've done in previous videos, talking about maybe like how much that would be in the future, how much you'd need now, yada yada, but not too important for today's video. Today's video, it's important to showcase that this is all just so simple to calculate, but still, it takes a little bit of effort to do it. And I guess the last one I would have to do is price you predict, I guess at the bottom, or price, and then put the retirement money and XRP. This is not spelled right there, so we can have the last calculation. I don't know how to do that. It's not possible. Retirement, is that how you spell it? Whatever. Yeah, I just need to put these 3 things in here to get the last variable created instantly. But you guys hopefully get the idea here that it's so simple to look at. But now, of course, you must be wondering, why is that important and why do I care about all of this? Well, if you don't calculate a good plan for yourself, like we've done here, and this is, again, you got to just read through it once, as we will do here in a second, and get the goals in your head just once at least, and you'll be good for a very, very long time. Why is that so? Well, from personal experience, from peer reviews, from all the people I've talked to, I just have found out that this is most likely the most successful way, because let's imagine this scenario right here. XRP right now is at a comfortable 24 cents. Let's say XRP goes to $1. What are you going to do? Are you going to sell? Are you going to buy? Who knows, right? Have you thought about that? Have you? Well, write it down, all right? And in the plan, I haven't wrote all those things yet, but maybe I should also put something here like, all right, write it down. We'll elaborate on that. I'll try to elaborate a little bit more of a story on that soon. But just write it down, what you would do at $1. That stuff is important, because what would you do if XRP hit $4, or let's say, for example, all-time high? What would you do? Would you sell pieces? Would you sell all your XRP? And what would you do with that money then? Because of course now you've gained profit, right? But are you gonna buy things with your profit, or are you gonna invest it again? But if you're gonna invest and you're still holding XRP, are you then just going to take the money that you, I guess, achieved or received from investing and put it into a different investment, which is going to do worse? Or are you just going to put it back into XRP? Because you're saying that you still believe in XRP, that it's going to go up, because you're still keeping a lot of money in, right? And that's, again, if you got that little story right there, that it's really difficult to picture what you would do with your money after you've hit a certain point. For example, maybe at $1, you're going to cash out a little bit to buy yourself out of your debt. And maybe you would do the next thing when it gets to $4, all-time high. But let's say you have all your debt paid off and there's nothing that you need to buy right now. So, for example, your mortgage, it's doing its thing. It's doing fine, and you don't have any really high interest debt. Let's say only the mortgage, but we'll skip about that one for now. What are you going to do with that? Because you, of course, want to get the highest yield possible, but where are you going to get it? And if you don't take all your money out of XRP, it means you still believe in it. And even though it's a higher risk thing, maybe the yield's going to be better, right? And all those things you're going to have to think about, which a lot of people don't do. Why don't they? Because they never thought too well about the situation they would be in, or they never thought too much realistically about what to do when somebody really gets money. Because one thing people often overlook about wealth is that it will go down if you don't invest it. So let's say you get yourself $10 million right now. In 10 more years, it's going to be worth $9 million. All right. No, it's a little bit of an over exaggeration, but it's what happens with money. Money, your basket of goods becomes more expensive over time, right? That's the general theory in economics due to inflation. But besides that, you also have to pay tax, at least in most countries, on having money, right? And I don't exactly know for every country how it works. At least here in the Netherlands, you have to pay about, let's say, about 1.3% of your money every year, right? If you have above a certain amount. In this case here, right now, it's above like $32,000 or euros you already have to pay. But I think in a couple of years, like 2 years or so, it's going to go up to 400,000 if that still is going on. But still, the idea is straight that you're going to have to pay on your money. And those are things people don't think about too much. You're like, yeah, but I don't care to pay. Well, then your money's only going to go down, right? And eventually it'll be finished, which is not what many people want. They want it to grow forever. Well, then, of course, you're going to have to think of, what will I do with my money to invest it right? And how much do I need to really not do anything anymore? Because even if you cash out all your XRP and you got yourself $50,000, what now? You can't retire. You can't do anything that special right now. You can buy a couple of things most likely and try to invest it further, but you're going to have to think about all those things. Now, to retire, there's still a couple of things you also need to think about. First of all, under $1 million, going to be really, really difficult in any really developed country like the US and I guess the Netherlands here, to give you guys an example, to retire. It's going to be really hard, and it's going to be quite quite a little bit of a risk you're taking. Why is that so? Well, following this strategy on Business Insider, which I really recommend to check out as well. I've shown you guys before, but still will do it again just to quickly show you guys. Here's how much money you need to save to retire on a beach and play golf all day by age 40. I really have recommended this idea, this plan multiple times. And what they're saying here is take your money, for example, $1 million, and divide it by 4%, which means that will become your new annual retirement income. Now, of course, out of $1 million, it's going to be $40,000, which will most likely be a little bit of a baseline you should set for yourself. When determining your magic retirement number, be honest with yourself. If you make $100,000 a year today and spend all of your take-home pay, you are likely to be able to live happily on $50,000 a year retirement because you have not that much to do, and maybe it's it's going to be really boring for you if you all of a sudden have 50% of that money. And also take into consideration, though, on the contrary, that your mortgage might be paid off, which might be another $2,000 a month. If that's already paid off, then the odds are different. But hopefully you guys get this. If you have $1 million, 4%, which you could then take off out of the $1 million, would give you $40,000 a year, right? And the baseline here is that you'll be able to find yourself an investment, which gives you about a return of 6% a year. I would most likely go try to get that to 7 and really strive or thrive, I don't know, to get to 7. Because that would just give you the easiest time out there. But for example, how it will work is you have $1 million, you get 7% extra on that, which is $70,000. $40,000 of that goes to you to spend every month, which is $3,500 ish. Then another 1% goes to increasing your money. So for example, your 1 million would go to 1,010,000, and then 2% ish, roughly goes to the tax. 1.3%, I think it is over here. I think it's like 30% of a 4% in the higher category goes to tax, which you should always account for, and also some really strange inconveniences, which you sometimes have to think about. That's why you always want to have a little bit more. And also, of course, the market volatility. It might be that right now it's doing really well, but shortly afterwards, the market deteriorates. You won't be able to get your return, and you're waiting. You don't want to be in that limbo, and so it's really nice to build up a little bit extra to make sure your money grows harder. And also, I would always aim for getting 2% a year extra. So that's again why we did 7% instead of 6, which is the normal thing people recommend because of inflation, right? Because inflation, you should count about 2% right there. And the 1% that Business Insider does here is not going to be enough because you're still going to lose out in the end, right? And they're also not taking tax into consideration, but I don't know how it works in the US with the money tax. So I can't tell you guys too much on that, depending on where you are. Do you have a house already? What are your monthly expenses? Count all those things up and then see how much you would need every single month. For example, if that were to be, let's say, what's a nice number? Again, if that was going to be $3,500 a month, you could go for $40,000 a year, which would mean you could retire with $1 million. But then, of course, you would have to put in the XRP price prediction that you got, because that's going to play a very big role if you want to retire using XRP. If you just want to retire with crypto or retire in general, I guess this does not matter that much, but it's still something you should take a look at because this, along the process, and again, I'm going to elaborate more on that pretty soon here because I want to spend some time just making this whole sheet or whole document really elaborate so anybody could just send it to their friends and they can think about it all and really be something quite cool. But yeah, the price you're going to have to think about because it will decide at what points you're going to cash out. And I also want to make a little bit of a thing like, I don't know how you put in tables too well, but a little bit of a thing like cash out price, and then put different prices here. For example, 0.10, 0.50, and things like that, and see quantity XRP, for example, or dollar value, things like that, where you just have to put in as well for yourself at what points you want to cash out and make yourself a definite plan. Hopefully you guys get it, right? I'm trying to word this in the easiest way possible so anybody could understand it and anybody gets the real thoughts behind why I think this is all important. Again, to briefly summarize, it is because otherwise you're going to be kind of stuck in a limbo because you have all this money in XRP invested and on paper, but you don't have any money in your hand, right? And if anything does happen, or when are you going to cash out, really? You know, if anything does happen, you have nothing. But also, if you always decide to go for higher, right, you're going to keep investing everything, you're never really going to be rich as a living person. You're only going to be rich on paper, but you might never really cash it out because any point you cash out at is going to be bad, right? Nobody does that. Everybody, all the big players do cash out at some points or receive dividends. In this case, your XRP is no stock, so you won't be able to cash out your dividends. And so yeah, you're going to have to sell at some points, which you should really write down for yourself. And again, I'm going to explain more about that in different videos about which points are nice to sell at and how much most likely. Then we should go for your amount of XRP. Also, maybe try to calculate for yourself with this sheet here how much XRP you're going to be needing for your prediction, and just put in a couple of numbers here, play around with it if you want to, or just make it for yourself. You can just see the calculations, how they're done. It's just a calculation here like this. It's just times. It's the simplest thing in the world. Divide, and I will do another one like that just around here. Just play around with it for a second. You can make this in like a minute. So just do that and just work with it a little bit, right? Work with it. Make yourself comfortable with it. And you'll notice it will reap benefits over longer term. And then again, your amount of XRP, just have it in your mind, either calculated through this or calculated through how much money you're putting into crypto every month and how much you'll have at a certain point. All right, and now at this point, you're going to have to link up how much money you have when you retire or want to have, the price prediction at the point you want to retire, and the amount of XRP. And again, this is not for, you know, when you have to cash out what point, but this is just to make you guys clear that you should always think about getting money out. It's not the common opinion, I think. You know, it's not the common opinion out there in the XRP community that at one point you're going to have to sell some. But you should, all right? And on this channel, there's a zero BS tolerancy. I don't talk about what people want to hear the most in terms of the news. I talk about the coins people want to hear about the most. But I will always give you guys my honest opinion. Always, guys. Always. I will guarantee it 100%. Because that's what it's all about in this news, I think. Integrity. And it's just a really important factor that I messed up sometimes on, and I don't want you guys to make the same mistakes. Here's a little bit of an overview, a table on what points are possible. For example, you want to cash out with a million XRP. Well, of course, you can already do that at $1 then. $10, $50 would give you these yields, or this amount of money, I guess. And same goes for, all right, you only have 5,000 XRP. Well, the price per XRP would have to be ridiculously high to be able to cash out with that at one point in the future. And please, guys, unless you're in a, I guess, relatively low-priced country, don't cash out with less than $1 million in total. It's going to be a little bit rougher, all right? There could be tougher times. You could lose a lot of money for some reason, or something could happen, and you're going to be stuck because you got nowhere to go for some reason, right? Don't try to, unless you're already, you know, on the retirement age and you only have saved up, you know, less. That's circumstantial. But if you're younger and you want to retire, you want to stop working, please don't go for less than $1 million. It might hurt you in the end, and I don't want it to happen to anybody. And then, should you sell XRP? Again, depends on how you would like to preserve your wealth and the amount of risk you're willing to take. This refers to, again, that anybody has a different opinion on this. Everybody will differ in terms of what they would like to happen, what they would like to do, and, again, what their visions are. But my personal vision is, if you don't sell ever, you might be getting the best percentage yield on any money you could, or any investment you could. But in the end, you might always stay poor, right? You might never be able to buy an Apple just because you got all your money stuck in XRP. That's why I think cashing out is always smart, because then you can also live the life that you can theoretically afford due to all your good investments. And I'm not talking about spending all your money on Lambos and and other cool things. I'm talking about really just living the way you would like, right? If you don't need any money at all, yeah, then maybe you can keep everything in XRP. The investment could be rendered useless possibly because, well, it's going to be money on paper, but you can never touch it and whatever. But the only counter side, to kind of conclude here, the only counter side you guys could give me is that I am waiting, right? And I want to hear that from you then, if you are of this opinion. I am waiting for everything to be able to be bought in XRP. So If I want to buy a house, I can just spend XRP. If I want to buy a boat, I want to be able to spend XRP. Otherwise, I'm not buying it. All right, that's one stance. Second of all is I don't want anything to do with the US dollar, and I want all measurements in XRP. So you just don't really care about the US dollar as a global reserve currency right now and a really important fiat. You don't care about that. You want every price out there to be, decided in XRP, or you ain't want nothing to do with that. If you're of that opinion as well, then you can kind of render a little bit of the advice I gave you as useless. But as of this point, dollar is still really important, and thus we must also think about what the plans are in terms of dollars. If you want to cash out, we put some exchanges down below here as well on which ones are good and which ones work and which one have what type of fees, which is from Cointelegraph. I just took it out of there, and I just got to add more in here. But again, I might spend tonight just adding a couple of really cool things like this and then just making the whole story more elaborate. I want to make it a retirement plan, but also a just plan of action, about what you should do, and maybe also an introductory thing to XRP. Maybe I'll make another document for that, just so anybody could share with each other. And that's why I've also not released a document yet, because I don't think it's finished, right? And I want to give you guys something to really look at and be like, yeah, thank you, man. Instead of just this small little document which doesn't have enough info. If you guys really want it, and you guys can get one comment with a lot of upvotes, I'll just put it in the Discord. But let's see what you guys really want. Just put it out there for me to check out. Had a couple of tweets here as well, but I guess we'll skip out on them for now. And hopefully you guys are happy with this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Well, let's actually quickly check it out. XRP Army exposers sues Twitter for account suspension. Just noticed that Geoff Goldberg is suing Twitter for banning his crypto account, and XRP Yoda says, anyone ever thought about the NDAs with Ripple or the other way around? And Ripple made them sign NDAs. Another really interesting thing to think about, Could it be that Ripple did all of this instead of the companies signing with Ripple? Was it Ripple all along that wanted to get these NDAs going? Or, what's the situation surrounding that? Really interesting to also think about. Again, we'll cover that in another video later. And then, of course, the whole South Korea game on type of situation. Boom, game on. South Korean parliament passes landmark crypto bill. It will be a huge year for XRP. Enjoy the wild ride. And Ripple to significantly improve cross-border payments in South Korea. All of that is lining up. But more about that we're going to be talking on really relatively soon here. So make sure you go ahead and go to that comment section. Put down below what you'd like to talk about next. Make sure you press the like button if you enjoyed this video. And make sure you subscribe to be notified, with the notification bell on, of course, for every time that I upload another video. And of course, all of this is also to support the channel, so I'll keep making videos every single day. Do that, and I'll see you guys again in another crypto video. Take care, everybody, and have a very, very nice day.